What's up guys? My name is Jesse and welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to do a book review over Elon Musk by Walter Isaacson. So this book came out towards the end of 2023, so we're going to try to keep it short and sweet. So let's go ahead and dive in. Alright guys, like any other of my book reviews, here is the breakdown. So I'm going to go ahead and start with a short summary, pretty much explaining about the book, about the details in the book. So I'm going to keep that as short as possible. Then when we go into the evaluation part, that's where I do a little deep dive over the book and give you my insights of what I got from the book. That way, as well as personal lessons, connections that I made along the way as I was reading the book. And of course, the last thing we would do is give you my recommendations. All right, who should I recommend this book to, and my overall rating of the book. All right, so like any other books that I've reviewed, guys, a little bit of disclaimer. So I am going to mention a little bit of parts of the book. So if you have not read the book, or if you're one of those individuals that don't like for things to get spoiled, or you don't want me to spoil any sections of the book, I suggest for you to read the book first and then come back to the video, see what connections we can make together. Or if you don't care, then just stick around. All right, guys, so here is the summary that I came up reading from the book. Now, a little bit details of the book. So here, this is how the book looks like. As you can see, it's a little bit thick. So it's about 600 pages, and I believe it stops at the 600 mark. The rest is, sources and all that from the book. But as you can see, the book is pretty thick. Now, it doesn't have a summary in the back. It's a hard book cover. So it is one of a hard book copies. All right, as you can see, all the sticky notes that I did, all the notes that I did, and a short video along the way in a short clip of the notes I took from reading the book. Now, the book did take me about, it took me a little bit over a month to read. And that's only because I was really soaking in the knowledge, soaking in the events. And as I was reading the events that was going on with Elon Musk, I actually did my own research, right? Because, from the start, I know he was born in South Africa. I did not know that. I didn't know things about Neuralink. I didn't know things about Tesla. So just to double check the facts, not that I didn't believe the author, but I just wanted to, watch a video of my own, especially I believe in one of the sections in the book, or one chapter, they mentioned about the Neuralink, about when they were starting test on the monkeys. And I actually wanted to watch the video myself, so I decided to watch the video and then go back to reading it. But yeah, guys, it took over a month. I got this book for Christmas. Didn't start reading it until towards the end of, actually the beginning of January. All right, so here's a brief summary. So we all know who, for the most part, everybody know who Elon Musk is. But to me and to the people around the world, he's known as one of the greatest innovators of our century, right? Again, like I mentioned earlier, he was born in South Africa. He eventually made his way into America, where he created several businesses. So he was a founder. He's currently the CEO and founder of several businesses. As you can see in the picture here, we know most of the businesses, right? SpaceX, Tesla, and the rest, right? Which again, I'll post a picture. He's also known for his intense work ethic. Now, in the book, he's heavily described and compared to the same work ethics as Steve Jobs. Right. He's also known as being one of the biggest risk takers. He's always a curious individual, and of course has multiple personalities. As you can see, once you read the book, the author really describes his multiple personalities with different individuals in his life. one of the highlights that I want to highlight in the book, and of course, one of Elon's biggest accomplishments, is that in 2020, SpaceX became the first private company to send 2 NASA astronauts into the International Space Station, which is known as the first launch of humans into orbit by a private company. Now, I thought that was amazing. He's often compared to Steve Jobs, like I mentioned before. He's compared to Steve Jobs and his work ethic, the way he treated his employees. And of course, it's a little bit different, right? A little bit different what happened to Steve Jobs, because if I could recall correctly, Steve Jobs actually, when he was fired from the board to leave Apple, he actually came back a better person, right? They're both known, and of course, Elon is known as a disruptor. So again, the author Walter Isaacson vividly describes that Elon Musk is a disruptor. All right. So Elon Musk's ultimate goal is to get humans, to make the human civilization a multi-planetary species. His other goal is to promote sustainable energy and, of course, protect humans against AI and, of course, protect democracy. All right, so let's go ahead and jump in to the evaluation. All right, guys, so, before I get into the evaluation, all in all, as I'm reading the book, as I'm doing a deep dive into Elon Musk, these are the 3 words that came in mind to describe Elon Musk, right? First of all, the first word that I want to describe Elon Musk is he's actually a genius, right? As you know, with his companies and the things that he's able to do for the human civilization, to me, he's considered a genius. He's also, another word to describe him is visionary. He's a big visionary, and you can see that a lot in the book. People thought he was crazy about SpaceX. People thought he was crazy about the new innovation of Tesla. So he's a visionary, and also another word to describe is determined. He's very determined. He set these strict deadlines and goals. Most of them he meets. Other ones he doesn't. He's unsuccessful, right? So those are 3 words to describe Elon Musk. All right. So the evaluation, we're going to start off with a quote. Is I'm going to colonize Mars. My mission in life is to make mankind a multi-planetary civilization. Of course, by Elon Musk. All right, so Walter Isaacson did an amazing job of providing details and insights into Elon Musk's life, right? So according to Walter, not only in the book, but on multiple podcasts, he mentions that he actually shadowed Elon Musk for 2 years, right? He sat in interviews, he interviewed people, those family members close to him, friends, employees, and other people that were pretty much involved around him or had some kind of form of interaction with Elon Musk. So he had the pleasure of interviewing those people. He also had late conversations with Elon, not only at his house at the time his house in California, and then eventually when he moved to Texas, but also in his planes, right, where Elon was going from California to Texas and other parts of the world. Walter had the pleasure to conversate with Elon. He also read emails and text messages to put everything together, right, to put this whole story together. So as you're reading, he used a lot of quotation marks, a lot of things that people say about Elon Musk, and of course his own observation of Elon Musk. So the timeline and sequence of events were clear and easy to follow, right? So once I show you the clip of the book, as you can see, there's a little, in every chapter he has a title, right? There's a title and then there's subtopics to break that down, which I enjoyed. And it was easy for me to digest what was going on in Elon Musk's life, right? So he started with his early childhood. So he shared about his early childhood, where he grew up in South Africa, how he had a tough relationship with his father, which eventually he moved to Canada, and then eventually he made his way into America, right? He also takes us behind the scenes of how he actually built these companies, right? From SpaceX to Tesla to the Boring Company, Neuralink. All these successful companies that he's built, he actually takes us behind the scenes, and most of the chapters are titled SpaceX and Tesla, or the rise of Tesla. So that was easy for me to read. At any point, you could take a pause because the chapters weren't that long. I think the most long chapter was probably like 20, maybe 30 pages, but other than that, they were very, very short chapters. Of course, he also did a good job of including Elon's struggles, his wins, of course, because there was a whole bunch of struggles, and there's a whole bunch of phases of his life where there were wins, right? For example, like I mentioned earlier, about in 2020, where he was able to have two NASA astronauts using a SpaceX spaceship successfully go into the international space station, right? So that was a big win for not only Elon but for the SpaceX companies, and of course his risk-taking abilities, right? Again, people looked at him like he was just foolish, right? It was a foolish idea to create a private space company. It was foolish for him to create the most sustainable energy car in the world. So that people thought he was pretty crazy at that. All right, page 350, Walter stated the following, right? Must push to move faster, take more risks, break rules, question requirements, allow him to accomplish big feats, right? So because of the way his work ethic was, his ability to take risks, break the rules, and also question the requirements is what actually got him to where he is today. All right. So what I found interesting is that Walter Isaacson's style was unique among other bios. Again, the book has over 600 pages with tons of information of Elon Musk. As I mentioned earlier, he is an easy read, easy to follow, and just very digestible parts to take in and actually learn the journey of Elon Musk. So, the book left me with the ability to want to do more in life, right? So, because of the things that Elon was able to do in his career and is continuing to do, the goals he's able to accomplish, the risks that he's willing to take, and the things that he's able to juggle around, it's really, really inspiring to do so. After I read the book, I was like, man, I got fired up. I was like, man, I know I could do more. I know I could do more, not only in my life, but my dreams and goals, my relationships. So I just it left me with just wanting to do more, right? Elon is often considered our Thomas Edison, our Tony Stark, and to me, he's considered one of the ultimate Renaissance men, right? So those of you that don't know what a Renaissance man is, it's pretty much anybody that has multiple skills, right? Multiple skills to do. During the Renaissance time, Leonardo da Vinci was considered a Renaissance of our, in history. So, to me, Elon and along with others, which I'll share later, he's considered our Renaissance of our time, right? Because he has multiple things he could do, things that he's willing to do to go above and beyond. All right, and despite his success, despite his risk taking, despite what people say about them, he's just a human like everyone else, right? He Of course, he's always going to make mistakes. He's not going to have the best relationship with his family. That is including his father, right? He didn't have the best relationship with his father. There's some things in the book that Walter mentions that, pretty much kind of destroy the relationship. But, even growing up, in the book mentioned that Elon Musk didn't have the best relationship, But there are some characteristics, some attitudes that are kind of similar that Elon Musk does that his dad often did. So, of course, he experienced defeat. I think it took about, it took a long time for SpaceX to launch their first, to launch their first successful space rocket into orbit, right? So in page 187, it actually took 4 attempts before it was successful, right? Back in 2008, SpaceX became the first private built rocket to launch and reach to Earth's orbit. So, it took 4 tries. At that time, there were really, he had that mindset that he didn't want to give up, but it took him 4 tries just to successfully launch a space rocket into Earth's orbit, right? And of course, after that, the rest is history. He also experiences another defeat besides those 4th attempts. He actually lost his first-born child, right? And that's kind of, devastating for him. And of course, I could imagine what the emotions he was going through. I can't put myself in that shoe yet because I don't have children yet, but I only can imagine what he was feeling, right? Because losing somebody in general really could take a person back, right? So it mentions what the emotions he was going through at the time when that happened. And of course, he goes through a roller coaster of emotions, right? So I did notice a lot his favorite thing to do when he felt that he needed to talk to the world or express some kind of express what's going on in his life. He tends to tweet it out, right? So he's a big Twitter fingers, as people used to call it. Yeah, so he tweets about everything. And again, he just has a roller coaster of emotions. His brain is, his mind is constantly going. And I think I seen a clip. I think I don't know what podcast it was, but he did mention that, you do not want to be Elon Musk because his brain is constantly flowing, constantly going. He doesn't stop thinking. He doesn't stop want to try to create different things, right? So, which is crazy. All right, so as far as my expectations of the book, I believe they actually met all my expectations. It painted a clear portrait of Elon's life, right? Some things that I did not know, some things I didn't know about his brother, some things I didn't know about his father, and of course the phases of life he was going through. So it kind of painted that perfect portrait of him. Just hearing his story through other people was actually inspiring as well. Including his ex-wives that were on those journeys with him when he was, especially his first wife. I forgot her name. But especially his first wife, and then of course the other women that he eventually married actually describes his work ethic and how he was, right? And his brother Kimball played a big role, helped Elon Musk, and I believe that he's actually the one, according to the book, he's actually the one that actually could get to Elon, right? Elon is comfortable with his brother. He's able to rely on his brother, so I could compare to that a lot because I do have a lot of brothers. So when something goes on in my life, or if I just want to share something really personal, or if I want to open up to somebody besides my fiance, I believe that I could do that with my brothers. And I did see that relationship with Elon and his brother. Of course, stories from his mother. His mother did mention a lot about Elon, and he, as growing up as a kid, and some of the things he did as a kid that actually set him apart from other children, right? So, the only negative that I have about the book is that there was an extensive chapters over Twitter, right? There was a whole bunch of stuff on Twitter, which is good for us to know each detail, but I feel like Walter could have condensed the story of Twitter into like one chapter, right? And he broke it into many parts, and it did last for a long time. And then I think the Twitter files and this and that. So that's the only negative I have, because I remember the time when it came out in the news that Elon bought Twitter, right? But I didn't know the behind the scenes of him going to court, and eventually they settled, and he eventually bought Twitter. But I wish he would have condensed it into one chapter, all right? And like all in all, I was very intrigued. The book was amazing. I learned new things about Elon that I didn't know before, and some things that I could adopt into my own journey and my own life as well, right? So, and my recommendations, guys. So the last part of my review. So, I would recommend this book, of course, to any aspiring engineer, because all in all, Musk is an engineer, right? He be building stuff, creating new things. The way he thinks about the way he thinks different, right? And that's a quote that Steve Jobs said about himself, and of course people that are disruptors, think different. So that's what I recommend. Any engineer, anybody that's willing to take anybody that's willing to take risk, right? If you're willing to take risk, or anybody that needs that motivation to take a risk, this is the book for you. Of course, any entrepreneurs, any innovators, or if you're just that one person that thinks, or that one person that is crazy enough to change the world, then this book is for you, right? And it's also an excellent book to add to your collections, whether you like to read bios or entrepreneurship, business. This is an excellent a good add to your collection. All right, I will recommend this book a 9 out of 10. All right, so again, great details, timeline was on point, sequence of events were clear and precise. But I believe that Elon Musk is still doing great things, right? Elon Musk is still building, innovating. His mission is to take and is to make our civilization a multi-planetary species, right? So I believe there's going to be either an updated version of this book or a part 2, because I think it ends where he's thinking about the Starship launch, which is going to be the biggest launch of SpaceX. The biggest ship, I think it was twice as large as the Falcon, I believe, or the newest one. I can't remember. But yeah, so he's still going to be continue to do amazing things. So I believe there's going to be an updated version on this, or a part 2. One major takeaway from the book is to take risk, right? And Elon is a proven of taking risk, right? There's a whole bunch of things he took when he took the risk. He learned from. He was able to not only learn from them, but then work from there. And in some sense, he was successful because he took that risk, right? So no matter what happens, you at least know you took that risk and you learn from it, right? So that's the thing I'm taking away from this book, is to continue to take risk, like I said before. But I believe his risk-taking abilities is at another level, right? He doesn't even think twice about taking the risk. He said, like, let's do it. How about you eliminate this? How about, we question this? How about we take the middleman out? So that's my take, guys. Again, hopefully you enjoyed my book review. over Elon's bio by Walter Isaacson. Hopefully you enjoyed it. So that is it, guys. Just a quick side note. This channel is just not about book reviews, right? So it's about, self-improvement, continue to grow as individuals, and of course, long life learners, right? This is the whole point of my channel. I want to show you and document my journey of where I'm taking this, but I'm reading as I'm going along, right? I'm reading. I love reading, and I'm gonna continue to read. Right now, I'm looking at other books, but again, going back to my the goals that I mentioned in my goal video, I'm trying to read 12 books. This is book number 1, 11 more to go. All right. Again, like and subscribe. Leave a comment in the comment section below. Let me know what you think. I'll catch you soon, guys. Peace.